Yes, grab your popcorn because it's Magnus versus Hikaru, another episode of Titillating Tuesday, the strongest weekly online chess tournament in the entire world. The big guns were in action. This is a great game. Hikaru with white here. Let's check it out. So e4 played, best by test. We get e6 from Magnus, essaying Le Français, the French defense. We get d4, d5, surely you go e5 here or something, or knight d2, keep this bishop on c8 locked out. No, Hikaru takes. You can hear Magnus's bishop scream. Because that bad French bishop has been liberated, the horses charge into the game, both bishops develop, look at that for some symmetry, the players high five on their webcams, and now the symmetry just continues. They do a fist bump, explode it, now the queens come off. Hang on Hikaru, are you not playing right into Magnus's hands here? Well, Hikaru goes wrong. Straight out of the opening, he should castle his king, it's the top move, but he plays knight c3, mixing his opening stuff. Hikaru needs Chessbook.com, the kind sponsors of today's video. This is Chessbook, your one-stop shop for building a custom opening repertoire. And what is so good about it is when you land, click on settings up here, well you can enter your own rating. It gives you a range, it's based on the platform you play on or your over the board rating, and then from there when you come back and start building your repertoire, say I want to look at the white pieces here, I've already entered some stuff so I can practice or go to gaps, but if I wanted to add something new, then bang, it brings up the board here. Say I want to look at e4 today, well it shows me all the moves my opponent might play. You start building out, and it doesn't just give you moves. If you click how to play from here, it gives you the ideas of the position. Critical. And then the best part is, because this connects to chess.com, Lichess, wherever you play, then when you come back in, having played some online games, you can go to correct your opening mistakes, and it will show you where you did something wrong under pressure, and now you can fix and learn. Give it a whirl. The link is in the description below. Go to chessbook.com. It's free to start using. Don't even need to make an account. You get 100 moves to enter in and practice, and if you love it so much you want to carry on, it's just $4 a month, a cup of coffee, right? So Magnus doing fine out of the opening now, but only if he goes knight c6, carrying on the symmetry. He plays pawn c6, looks so natural, but now castles, rook e8, bishop g5, h6, Hikaru chucks in the Zwischenzug, forcing the king backwards. No it doesn't, bishop e6 instead to intercept the check. After that in-between move, it means in German, and now we finally see this bishop dropping back. Magnus castles by hand and knight e5. Hikaru occupies the wonderful outpost you'd never take in a million years. Pawn recaptures, knight stumbling back, f4, f5 on the way. So instead, a6 immediately tells us that c5 is being prepared, but you don't want to allow bishop b5 or knight b5. So f4 from Hikaru, threatening f5. Magnus doesn't care. He plows boldly forth with pawn to c5, and the game explodes. This is what the top guys do. Fine, you've got a threat, but how about my threat? It's more powerful, and indeed it is. If you capture here, white takes here and actually is doing better, because you open these cannons, so many tactics in the air like knight g6 check stuff. We won't go down the line, because after bishop c8, Magnus having a back rank party, humming S Club 7 to himself as he goes, and now Hikaru goes bishop to f4. Surely now you can capture on d4. How is that not good? Crumble the center, hit the knight. Well, there's a tactic here. but it's difficult to find. You really need to scan the board. How do you make the most of the loose black pieces, the exposed king? The move to play here, well done if you found, is knight g6 check. And if the king moves, well, this is the point. You can take on d5, distracting the defender of this rook. And if you take here first, well, now you can take back. You don't even need to take this knight yet, because if black takes, this is the mate. I'm trying to remember all the lines here. It's just absolutely crazy. What happens if you take that knight sooner and go for this one? Well, now the bishop collapses on d6. Still, there's loads of problems with invasions and pawn takes. White's just killing it when all these pieces are underdeveloped. So rook d8 played by Magnus, coming off the open file, protecting his bishop here, but Hikaru finds this great move. Knight to a4. Those dark squares as tender as Fabiano's spirits right now, having blown a +5 advantage against Nepo in the final round. c4 therefore from Magnus. Knight b6 now, a great move already from Hikaru, jumping in, occupying that square, but he drops back with the bishop, not so precise, but Magnus blunders horrendously here. He should go a5 as a top move, gives this rook some room on a6, kind of a weird idea. Or go knight c6, but he takes on f5. Once again, scan the board here because Hikaru finds the right first move, rook a7, but not the second move, the follow-up. He misses it. There's a great tactic in the air. Very well done if you can spot it. It involves this piece. How can you expose that king, the loose pieces, the weird stuff going on? Well, it's this move, knight e to d7 check. You're blocking the communication with this bishop. So however you take, something like this, now you can take with check. The king moves, and these are some of the ideas. There's a loose bishop on f5. Sure, the knight is loose, but then bishop c7. There's this sting at the end of the tail. There's many similar lines, but in the end, white emerges a minor piece ahead. So this was the shot. Hikaru could sense it, but didn't find it, didn't play it. Instead, he defends this pawn, creates a connect 3, and now Magnus just breathes a sigh of relief as he drops back here. Hikaru's got tactics in the air. Bishop takes on h6. You take me, I take you. It's actually the top engine line, but Magnus doesn't go for that one. He hops with knight e4. Hikaru thinks it's a good move live on stream. Calls it logical, but bishop g4 is actually incredibly powerful, removing this defender of the king. That's the key idea, and then this knight and rook are just converging, things are dropping. There's just a big problem with this lack of development, but bishop f4 played, it's missed, and now Magnus finally develops. He's cheering away, and Hikaru said that weird, he's messed up so many times with the tactics he had that it's almost fated that now he blunders. He plays the move knight a4. A knight on the rim is dim, especially when you're allowing it to get trapped, but it only works if you eliminate this knight first, so it can't take here, but with the bishop. And now however white captures, say you do this, b5 comes, and there's just no stopping it. Knight b6, sure, but then rook b7. That's the end. And of course there's no knight c5, or this one takes on c5 first. And if bishop e3, never explored this, okay, you take first and then take, and the knight defends the rook. Okay, but missed by both players. Magnus takes with the knight here, but it allows pawn recaptures, bishop c7, and now bishop e3, hitting that pathetic rook on the sidelines. This is when you need the coach to just come over and have a word, be like, look, I know you're trying your best, but you really need to get off the pitch at this stage. Yeah, I know your parents are here, I know they're watching, and you're trying to do good things for the team, but you've really just got to get out of the way. You're a nuisance. So that one meekly retreats to the corner. Poor kid, useless. Bishop f3 now comes. Hikaru back in the driving seat, or is he? Because Magnus goes b5. He starts unraveling. Knight c5 comes. Now we see an exchange. Bishop captures with check. cutting edge commentary you get here on Epic Chess. If you're not yet subscribed, do smash that subscribe button. Together we'll hit 83,198 and I will feel fulfilled for that number. Bishop d4 back, those are terrible bishops. Rook ab8, you can see what Magnus is planning. So a3, a5, king f2, bomb cloud style, marching into the center, Magnus carrying on with his plan, and king e3 comes. You've got to activate the monarch in the endgame. Magnus takes again, opens the file, rook b3, Hikaru takes the a file, both players lining up those cannons, Magnus trading pieces, he takes back the bishop. Now Hikaru challenges here, and he called Magnus's move here a good move. I mean, to my eyes, it's literally the most obvious move, right? But if you can play like the world champion here, who knows? Maybe you're on track for it. Well done if you found rook d to b8. What a good move. Now we see an exchange. Rook a2 covers the second rank from Magnus's invasion. We get rook b1, king d4, rook c1. Very nice idea. Not just checking the king and marching it up, but keeping it babysitting the c3 pawn. And now Hikaru plays h4, but h3 was a much more testing move. Because now if Magnus goes king h7, like we see in the game, he's in some trouble. You have to now go king f8. Because when Hikaru rounds up this pawn, which is unavoidable, this is a sample line, well, the black king has time to march in, blockade this pawn. So even though you're a pawn down, should be holdable. If you'd gone all the way around here, then you're in big trouble after rook d3, king d5, c pawn running. But okay, h4 played instead. Now when king h7 comes, it's okay, because although the d5 pawn's dropping, we can see that Hikaru is losing the h4 pawn to Magnus, and with check. This is how the game went. We see this liquidation of pawns. It's 3 on 3. The rook comes back to defend. Magnus activates the king. Both players shuffling around. The pawn progressing to g3. Should be a draw, but we've seen weirder stuff, right? Just a couple of weeks ago or so, we saw Hans Niemann blunder to Carlsen in a completely drawn endgame. Both players shuffling here. We see a little bit of tickle with these rooks. Not literally, of course. That's only permitted over the board, and even then, it's just armpits and ankles. You can't go for the throat or anything like that. Only legitimate tickles count. Arbiters are watching, but online, no tickling allowed. This is how the game proceeded. Another liquidation of pawns, and C and G start running. Both rooks coming around to corral those passed pawns. This is how the game went. Magnus gives up the rook. Has he gone nuts? Well, no. He's promoting his own pawn unless Hikaru keeps checking or gives up the rook. And so this is how the game duly ended. A draw, yes, peaceful. Hikaru took the tournament overall, but always great when these two guys collide. I hope you enjoyed. Do check out chessbook.com using the link below. Completely free, no account creation. Truly an awesome one-stop shop to build your opening repertoire. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.